Chapter 7. How were the original ancient scriptures meant to be interpreted, and why is everyone religious? Every single human thinks about a lot of stuff, be it about doing what we think we want or about what we think others want from us. Sometimes we feel insecure, afraid or left out, and then we start to think in ways that society would partly accept. This is because society never totally accepts any thought from anyone, because what society strives for is nothing but flaws in the end. We have a culture and others have their culture, but what if I told you that every culture or society doesn't matter, but only in our little plan we think we want to carry out in order to achieve something better? But there is no better, no worse, no good, no evil. These are all illusions, and we comfort ourselves with those illusions, thinking that they represent reality and are a means to an end to achieve. But what is there to achieve in an infinite reality of eternal peace? You see, we already have achieved everything and nothing at the same time, because time is an illusion. And there is nowhere to go really, because space doesn't exist either. Still, our brains are programmed to understand ones and zeros. It is a way of human thought and language. It is how we humans understand reality. The way we understand is severely flawed, yet is meant to be this way because Allah, God, eternal peace, wants it this way. We are part of God, so we want it too, yet that is not how we see and understand. Eventually every one of us is eternal, one with God. So this very persistent illusion we as a society call reality is nothing but a prison, a learning school. That fact is not right or wrong, just a fact. There is no meaning, no reason, it just is because God knows and is aware, He sees. We as humans know everything, just like God, only we as humans are, almost, not aware, and we are severely blind. That is the difference between God and man, so to speak. Now I just told you in a kinda short way of how the spirit in ancient mythological and biblical scriptures was meant to be interpreted. What did happen in our past and many cultures during the many millennia? Well, first of all, there was a lot of confusion and conflict between people all over the world, just like now in the early 21st century. It is written in the ancient Sumerian clay tablets and in the Bible that man, interpreted as both the physical or flesh and the human male, shall rule the world. Ruling as in conquering land and property. It was never stated that the flesh or the human male ruling the world is a holy thing. Those were just the words of an ancient Sumerian god, after Adamu and Tiamat were made. And about the creation story in the ancient Sumerian clay tablets and Genesis in the Bible, it could be interpreted as the ancient Sumerian beings, previous human race or extraterrestrials, who came here to genetically alter Homo erectus DNA, thus resulting in the birth of Homo sapiens sapiens in the end, as those Sumerian beings only speeding our evolutionary process, or just them visiting us after we evolved naturally in order to teach us about civilization. And even this story can be meant spiritually, as in our higher selves, spirits, becoming in the flesh and thus committing sin. Tiamat ate from the apple in Eden, and thus sin came to be upon all of humanity from that point onward. Now even this story can be taken both spiritually as physical history of what took place in this physical illusion called our universe, multiverse. So a lot of shit happened in short history here and there based on whatever story we can think of. And just like it was written in the scriptures, the flesh seems very apparent and real, despite being fake. And what we see as well is that the human male stood a lot higher in society than the human female throughout history. Today there is more equality, which makes it easier to see that this what we call reality is merely an illusion, so people are waking up. Spiritual movements, all nice and well, growing into our current 21st century society, even though those movements are mere religions, but still. People seem more capable these days in letting shit go, which isn't bad at all. And now, why exactly do we think that the human male really stood higher than the human female, when chapter 2 in my blog contradicts this historical evidence, for a claim based on misused interpretations? Well, women are very sensitive, as Tiamat ate from the apple before Adamu, one could say. But was that because she was just physically weaker minded than Adamu, or was it because she, and also women in general, are just too sensitive to really be able to control their own way of thinking and perception? They say that women are more down to earth, and men are more in their own fantasies. Well, the reason people see it that way is because we are an unaware blinded species called Homo sapiens sapiens. Yes, we found some physical evidence that the female human brain differs slightly from the male human brain, but the main reason we believe that women in general are more down to earth is because we are really blind, spiritually blind. The fact is that women are more sensitive than men, and if one reads this, one could say that women are too sensitive for their own good. That is why they seem to be more practical than men, and that is why they seem better at organizing than men, and that is why they seem to be better at social skills than men. Well, yeah, practically speaking, this is how we humans understand the way it works, with all physical laws. I see as a human through my human brain, for example, that what physical science claims to be true regarding how men and women generally are on their own and compared to each other, seems to be a fact. Yet the reason it appears that way is generally because of the nature of our brains and the nurture through our surroundings. It's what we by normal standards could describe as a difficult phenomena. Yet our fantasies and religion, and ultimately this physical universe, multiverse, come through God. And the Holy Spirit, the most important part of God, is the ever-connecting motherly nurturing feminine energy. So all that just seems, isn't whatever we might ever think it is. So finally, why is everyone religious, and what exactly is religion by its original definition? And what would a pseudo-religion be by definition? Well, all our physical brains and our higher selves to an extent are religious because we are programmed that way through either spiritual evolution, physical engineering, two of those or all three. It's not a bad thing since everything that is because it is meant to be. Now, religion is every illusion caused by anything we think or react to in a physical act or thought. A religion itself is literally every point of view, just like I described in chapter 6. So, if everyone is religious, does that mean that everyone gives into it or acts it out towards one another? Theoretically, not necessarily. For example, every theist believes in at least one theistic deity, so every theist thinks and or acts religious. Yet an atheist doesn't necessarily have to be religious just because he or she is an atheist. And a fact about atheism by definition is that theoretically being an atheist doesn't have anything to do directly with being religious or not. Yet when one takes being an atheist too seriously, that one is already religious purely because of his or her resistance to begin with. Resisting as in seriously thinking that opposing to theism is right. But there is no right or wrong, so there. So theoretically being an atheist doesn't have to mean being religious. This is a fact because the letter A from atheism stands for non, so atheism means non-theism. And since atheism isn't theism, an atheist by definition would be someone who doesn't think or act religious in a theistic way. So in short, atheism is just a word to describe someone who is not theistic, yet it doesn't say anything directly about having anything or nothing to do with other religions. For example, almost every person, if not every person who claims to be an atheist is religious, even if it is just because they label and categorize themselves as atheists. For a factual explanation for why labeling and categorizing is purely manifesting because of religion, please watch Eternal Peace, Chapter 6. Anyway, a lot of people who are atheists are part of their individual or organized religions such as physicism, biologism, physical, evolutionism, etc. etc. Other atheists are religious in their own spiritual ways. And then there is a difference between anti-theism and atheism. While being an atheist indeed doesn't directly say anything about being religious in any way, anti-theism is a pseudo-religion. It is a pseudo-religion because all anti-theists are against all forms of theism, yet they don't all believe in the same stuff. Because they don't all believe in the same stuff, anti-theism is not a religion like a separate form of theism would be. The same goes for theism in general because not all theists agree with each other, making theism in general a pseudo-religion as well. So pseudo-religion by definition is more of a summary of certain types of beliefs that actual religions have in common than an organized movement. For any movement and point of view or way of thinking, be it by an individual or by social organization, is by definition an actual religion. So again, New Age movements, animal activist movements, feminist movements, for example, are not religions by their definitions, but each individual movement is. So a New Age movement, for example, is a religion,